How to choose the best tank cleaning service. Have you given any thought to the notion of having another else clean your tank for you, or have you ever considered the possibility? You do not need to undertake any extra research if there is only one firm in your region that provides that service. This is the case if there is only one company in your region that provides that service. If there is only one firm in your region that provides that service, then you do not need to perform any extra research because there is only one company in your region that provides that service. In other words, there is no need for you to conduct any additional research. If this is the case, you won't have to do any extra research because you'll be working with the organization that has the most knowledge in this particular field. This means that you won't have to worry about making any mistakes. To put it another way, there will be no need for you to carry out any sort of research. If you want your water tank to remain in good condition for as long as possible, you shouldn't wait more than a year or two between cleanings. This will ensure that it remains in good condition for the longest amount of time possible. Instead, you should make it a habit to clean it at least once every year or two at the very least. At the very least, you ought to give it at least one thorough cleaning at least once a year. This is the absolute barebones requirement. For one thing, it could result in the water being old for a significant amount of time, especially if it has been a few months since you have used it. This is especially true if the water has been sitting in the same container. This is especially true if a large period of time has gone since the item was last used by you, since this will increase the likelihood that it will no longer function properly. This is especially true if a large amount of time has passed since the object in question was last used by you. If you haven't used it in a while, it's possible that it could be damaged. This is more likely to happen if you haven't used it in a considerable amount of time for a significant amount of time in a period of time. This is an especially likely outcome to take place in the case that the water in question has been left unused for an extended period of time at the location that is being taken into consideration. By investing in the cleaning of your tank so that it can store more water over time, you are effectively increasing the amount of time that your tank will be able to function properly, increasing the amount of time that your tank will be able to function properly for a longer period of time. Because of this, your tank will be able to survive for a significantly longer amount of time. Due to the fact that the tanks are utilized on a consistent basis, the cleaners are able to rapidly identify any potential difficulties that may arise in the near future or in the distant future. Leaks, corrosion, and other concerns are possible manifestations of these problems. As a direct consequence of this, in order to be of assistance to you in your search for a Mahi water tank cleaning service in Mahi, we have offered some ideas that you are free to make use of below. These suggestions can be found in the following paragraphs. You'll find the aforementioned recommendations farther down the page. It is entirely up to you to decide which, if any, of these suggestions would be most useful to you and put them into action. Ask the people with whom you spend the most time about their favorite places to eat and things to do in the region. This will help you narrow down your options. Specifically, when taken into consideration from the point of view of someone who has only very recently had the sediment removed from their water tank. When all is said and done, there is no piece of advice that comes from a person in whom you have entire faith that is superior to one that comes from another person. This is because there is no such thing as a person who has complete faith in another person. This is due to the fact that there is no such thing as an exceptional piece of guidance. You may also check to see if the individuals whose job it is to clean the area have actually given it a comprehensive cleaning in order to assess whether or not they have done so. This would be in addition to the previous step. Remember to keep in mind that you may want to consider using the internet to look at a website, so keep that in mind. If you do not personally know someone who has utilized such a service, then the next best alternative that is open to you is to conduct a search on the internet. This is because the internet contains a wealth of information. If you are unable to find such a person, you should not utilize a service of this kind because it is of no benefit to you. This is because the internet contains a huge quantity of information that can be accessed at any time. In this day and age, it is impossible for a business to be regarded seriously as a viable option for customers if that business does not have its own website. On this website, the company is able to provide examples of the products and services it sells, as well as information to customers about the nature of the business itself, in addition to the items and services it offers for sale. In addition to the website's ability to provide examples of the products and services it sells, in addition to the items and services it offers for sale, in addition to the website's ability to provide examples of the products and services it sells, in addition to the items and services it offers for sale, in addition. If you have narrowed your choices down to a select few viable prospects, the next step is to ascertain whether or not they possess the resources that are necessary to complete the project. If this is the case, you are free to proceed to the following stage of the process as soon as they validate the information that you have requested. This is of the utmost importance and should be done as soon as possible if your water tank is rather large and if simply washing water through it will not be sufficient to remove the sediment collection that has developed in your water tank. In this case, it is of the utmost need to do so. If your water tank is rather large and if simply washing water through it will not be sufficient to remove the sediment collection that has developed in your water tank, then it is of the utmost need to do so. In addition, when I refer to their equipment, I don't just mean that, I also mean their employees and other things that are similar to those and are along the same lines. I mean all of these things when I say their equipment. Do they possess the necessary level of experience as well as the understanding to perform a task of this kind in a manner that will fulfill one's expectations and leave them feeling satisfied? Do they even have a basic understanding of how to operate the equipment that has been made available to them? Things like this, which aren't actually all that complicated, may often go an extremely long way. In order to err on the side of caution, it is absolutely necessary for you to conduct research into the reputation of the company. You will be able to avoid making an error that might have significant repercussions as a result of this. You will have the power to prevent making a mistake that might have big repercussions for you in the future as a result of this. How is it that you are able to get away with doing this without anyone catching on to what you're doing? Investigating anything on the internet by carrying out a search using the name of their firm is one of the choices that can be made. This can be done as one of the possibilities. This is one of the options that are available to be selected. If the company has been there for a considerable amount of time, there is a significant probability that someone has written a review about it, and that review may be located on the internet. If this is the case, the company may want to take extra precautions when dealing with potential customers. If what you say is true, then the likelihood of anything like this occurring is quite high. The review is most likely to be located on the blog of a consumer who has made use of the product or service in question and who has either been thrilled or disappointed with the experience that they have had as a result of making use of it. You might even give one of their past clients a call or send them an email to ask them about their involvement with the company and inquire about their experience working with the organization. You could accomplish this goal by calling one of their previous clients or by sending an email to the company in question. You need to question about the organization's previous business dealings with the company in order to determine whether or not the organization did a good job with the project. You will be able to judge from this whether or not the organization done a good job with the task at hand. From this, you will be able to determine whether or not the organization has performed the task at hand in an effective manner. In order to come at a decision on whether or not you will be able to afford their rates, the very last phase in the process is to conduct an analysis of your current financial status. This will allow you to determine whether or not you will be able to afford their fees. Because it does not matter if they are the finest cleaning service that you are able to locate, if you are unable to pay for their services, then it does not matter how great they are, and it also does not matter if they are the best cleaning service that you are able to locate. Why? Because it is irrelevant whether or not they are the greatest cleaning service that you are able to locate. The quality of their work is irrelevant if you are unable to pay for the services they provide. Doing business with them would be a waste of time in such case. Before you give your consent to pay the price that they have established for their offerings, you should make sure that they can adequately justify the cost that they are asking you to pay for their services. You should do this before you give your consent to pay the price that they have established for their offerings. If you want to find the best Mahi water tank cleaning services in Chandigarh, you need to make sure that you adhere to all of these suggestions, which are just some of the many that are now available to you. If you want to find the best Mahi water tank cleaning services in Chandigarh, you need to make sure that you follow all of these suggestions. If you want to get the greatest services for cleaning water tanks in Chandigarh, you need to make sure that you follow all of these advice. Only then will you be able to locate the best services. If you want the best services for cleaning water tanks in Chandigarh, you need to make sure that you follow all of these different pieces of advice. Only then will you be able to acquire the best services. You won't be able to find the best services until after that step, though. It is imperative to first do a cost comparison of the numerous services that are accessible, and then to inquire about the guidance of people who are already familiar with your situation, in order to guarantee that you are obtaining the finest deal that is feasible. You won't be able to experience the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you are maximizing the return on your investment until after that point has come and gone. Until then, you won't be able to enjoy that sense of tranquility.